Moving on now, we turn on to our Spotlight segment, and that's the Android Basic segment. And today we're talking about the entry from within the system settings. And this, we come to the Google services and preferences. I'll first go on though and give you a quick overview of this area that we'll be talking about this overview. And then we'll move on to the next segment. Here is my overview. I am now in the system settings and I'll move to the item in question, and we're talking about Google here. And by the way, I'm doing this on my Pixel 6 Pro. I pulled it out of a drawer and using it instead of using my Pixel 7 Pro, which is running Android 14 Developer Preview 1. So this one is using the Android 13 QPR2 Beta 2.1. So here's the item in question. Google.
Google, Services and Preferences.
Google, Services and Preferences. I'll tap here and we'll go in here and look at all that we have.
Google Account. Google, out of.
So the first thing we heard, Google Account. And moving from here, we have several items, and the whole idea is to go through these items, which you can check out on your own. And I may stop on one or two and go in deeper and see what is content therein. But for now, the whole idea is giving you that whole overview of what is content in here. And then the podcast crew will discuss these items or the ones that they find to be of great importance.
Google Account.
We have your Google account, and following that we have
Manage your Google account button.
Manage your Google account. If we tap here though, you'll find several items. And let me just quickly go in here and show you the items that are here, and then we'll come back and continue from here.
Google Account.
And here's what we find on this screen. At the very top, we hear
Google Account.
Google account, and that's followed by your account. And below your username, we got some 6 tabs. Here are the tabs that I'm talking about. Starting from the left, we got
Home, tab, selected, 1 of 6.
We have the Home tab, and that's the one that's selected by default. And all that is showing here is relating to the Home tab. We'll check what it is that the Home tab has, but before we do, let's go through the other tabs. The second item to the right of that is
Personal Info, tab, 2 of 6.
Personal Info. Next,
Data and Privacy, tab, 3 of 6.
we got the Data and Privacy. That's number 3. And number 4.
Security, tab, 4 of 6.
Security is our number 4. Number 5.
People and Sharing, tab, 5 of 6.
People and Sharing. And the last item here on this screen is
Payments and Subscriptions, tab, 6 of 6.
Payments and Subscriptions. Now below that, that's below all these tabs. And of course, as I indicated, we are on the Home tab. That's the active tab that we have. Now here's what the Home tab says.
Take a few minutes to strengthen your passwords. Update your weak or reused passwords with Password Checkup in List.
And moving my finger down,
Dismiss button.
I have the Dismiss. So if I don't want to worry about this, I could just tap here, forget about this, and go on my merry way. Moving down,
Take Checkup button.
I have the checkup. I could basically tap on this to check up my passwords, and it will tell me as to which of my passwords have been breached online. Next,
Manage your info, privacy, and security to make Google work better for you. Learn more, out of list.
there's a Learn More.
Google One. As a Google One member, you get expanded storage, access to experts, and more.
So the next item here has to do with the Google One subscription, of which I'm a member. I'm subscribed to the 100 gig version, which is $2 a month, $1.99, or $19.99 annually, and that's the one that I chose. Below that, we've got
Account storage, 8.58 gigabytes of 102 gigabytes used.
It's telling me that I have used so far 8% of my 102 gigs and below that.
Support from a Google expert. Get help with Google products.
Next,
Go to Google One.
I could go here and manage my Google One subscription or the files therein. Next,
Privacy and personalization. See the data in your Google account and choose what activity is saved to personalize your Google experience. Showing
Next.
items 1. Manage your data and privacy. Showing items 1 to 4 of 9.
Next,
You have security recommendations. Recommended actions found in the security checkup in list.
so I
Showing
have some
items 2 to 5 of 9.
recommendations that I could go in and check on.
Protect your account. Showing items 3 to 5 of 9.
Protect my account.
Privacy suggestions available. Take the privacy checkup and choose the settings that are right for you. Showing items 3 to 6 of 9.
Next,
Review suggestions 2. Showing items 3 to 6 of 9.
and that's the last item. I'm going to go back here.
Google account. Manage your Google account button in list.
So I'm back in the main UI and we hear manage your accounts. Moving down,
COVID-19 support heading.
we come across a heading that talk about COVID-19 and below that,
COVID-19 exposure notifications off.
I have mine turned off. Next,
Services on this device heading.
we come to now a heading that says services and below that,
Ads.
ads. Here's where you can go in and personalize your ads and or change your ad ID and things like that.
Autofill.
Then we have the autofill. Next,
Backup.
backup, something very important. You need to go in here from time to time. If you want to manually backup, you could tap on this and go tap on backup. I'll show you what I'm talking about.
Backup. Navigate up button out of list. Showing items 1 to 11 of 14.
So I'm here now on the backup page or backup screen. And if I put my finger down,
Account storage.
we hear account storage, and below that,
Manage storage button.
manage storage. Moving down,
Backup by Google One. Pixel 6 Pro February 9th, 4:32 p.m. Switch on.
so the last time that this one was backed up was February 9th. And of course, I had pulled it out that day and checked for updates. Next.
Backup now button.
And you can tap on backup now. That means you want to manually back your apps and things like that. Moving on.
Your device backs up automatically over Wi-Fi after it's been idle and charging for 2 hours.
Next.
Backup details heading.
We got the backup details. Well, you got the drift. I'm going to go back.
Google account. Backup in list.
Moving from backup, we continue now and we come across
Devices and sharing.
devices and sharing. In other words, devices you can share things with. Next,
Find my device.
we come across Find My Device. Next,
Game dashboard.
Game Dashboard, and that's for those of you who are gamers. I am not a gamer. Next,
Mobile data and messaging.
Mobile Data and Messaging. Next,
Parental controls.
we come across Parental Controls,
Personal safety.
Personal Safety,
Personalize using shared data. Showing items 1 to 14 of 16.
and next,
Set up and restore.
we hear Set Up and Restore. In other words, in the event that you're setting up a new device or setting up your device after doing a factory reset and you didn't choose to restore your things or your apps or your contacts, you could tap here to go do so. Next,
Settings for Google Apps. Showing items 3 to 16 of 16.
let's go ahead and tap here.
Connected apps in list. Showing items 1 to 7 of 7.
We heard connected apps showing 1 of 7 and putting my finger down starting from the top.
Settings for Google Apps out of list.
We hear setting for Google Apps and moving down.
Connected apps.
Connected apps.
Google Contact Sync.
We got Google Contacts Sync,
Google Fit.
Fit,
Google Play Instant. Google Wallet. Play games. Search, Assistant and Voice.
you got the drift. And that's the general overview of the Google and preferences. I will now hand it over to the podcast crew as we delineate on these things. Well, that's the overview of this segment, guys. Let's talk about this segment, the overview here. We have several things in here. Some we have covered in the past, and some we'll be covering later on in some of our upcoming episodes. But what are some of these things that stand out to you? We got things like backup, we got things like ads, we've got other things that we've talked about. For example, we've talked about parental controls in some segment. I think, was that in digital well-being? I don't remember, but we've come across
Yes,
some
I
of
think
these
it
things.
was.
Yeah. And so this is an area that, we're encouraging you guys to go in here because we're just giving you an overview of it. We may look into some of the specifics later on, but for the time being, we want you guys to actually get familiar with this area and go in and customize things you need to customize and things of that nature.
I'd say one of the most important things probably is the backup one, because it may be that your phone isn't doing automatic backups. And trust me, if you only do manual backups, if something goes wrong with your phone and you lose all the information on it or something, that'll be when you haven't recently done a backup. Whereas if you have automatic backups, is it every day it does it? Or it's quite regular anyway.
Yeah, it does it
Um,
You can set it.
regularly.
Yeah, you can set it to
You can
daily
change,
or
yeah, you could,
weekly or
but that's a good thing to set. I mean, to be honest, most of these settings I think are things that most people probably only go into when something's not working properly or when they actually need to change something. I don't think they're settings that people would necessarily explore just because kind of thing, if that makes sense. But it's good to know where to find them, I think. And I do think
Yeah.
that backing up thing is worth checking out.
Yeah, and it backs up. You don't, as long as you have home internet and you know, you don't need to worry about it using up your data or your battery because it waits to do it automatically when it's been charging, when it's plugged in and been idle for a couple of hours. So basically, in the middle of the night when you're connected to your home network, if you have one.
And so in reality, I don't think it does it every time because I look at my backups, for example. Sometimes it does, and other times it doesn't. And if there's something that has really changed, then it might do it. I think the system is intelligent enough to do that. Let's say I install an app today, and later on tonight, if I don't have that thing plugged in, it's not going to update it. I mean, it's not
No,
going to back up.
it has to
So
be
that's
charging.
why, yeah. So it is important if you are someone that want to keep up to date, then you sometimes now and then you want to tap on that manual backup because then it'll back up your stuff for you. Also, though, if you don't want the thing to be eating your data, like John says, you want to make sure you have Wi-Fi because if you tap on that manual backup, if you are not on Wi-Fi, it will still back up because you're just saying, I want you to do that backup now. And this also counts toward your Google storage allotment. For instance, everybody have like 15 gigs of Gmail account, and that is shared across your services, Google services, be it, photos or whatever. So think about that. And I talked about the subscription to the Google One. This is where the Google One comes in. I'm not trying to sell you Google One, but if you can get that Google One, probably something worth doing. I got the $2 a month, but instead I do like an annual subscription. So I only pay $20 a year instead of $24. Because if you do it monthly, then you're going to be coming up at $24. So saving you $4 there, probably is better to have that annual subscription.
Yeah, and if you're wondering whether you need it or not, don't worry about it. Google will let you know for sure when you're running out of storage.
Yeah,
So,
if it hasn't told you you're running out of space, then you're fine.
yeah.
The other time it's good to manually back up is when you're about to try a beta version of Android, or if you're doing a major update, if you're worried about losing your data, especially things like WhatsApp and messages and stuff. Go in there and check when it last did a backup, and if it was quite recent and you're fine with that, then that's great. And but if it's not recent enough, then you might want to do that manual backup. I mean, on a lot of tariffs now, people have enough data anyway, but if you don't, it's like Warren said, it's worth knowing that you will use it on a manual backup. You will use it.
It is important that people do that backup because, like you mentioned, messages and especially contacts. We've had email messages on our email forum where people are talking about how do I back up my contacts or how do I import my contacts. So once you have these things backed up automatically, though, when you transfer to another device, your messages and your contacts are going to be coming through that Google backup that you do. And like John says, it counts against your backup. So if you're not seeing your messages, sometimes Google will tell you that, hey, your messages are not getting through, or someone sends you an attachment, it's not coming through. It could be that you're running out of that 15 gig storage. And so it will let you know, and then you will determine as to whether or not it's time to subscribe to that Google one. So these are very important issues to look into. If you're running low on storage, you can either go in there and clean them up, use that Google One app, and I find it easier to clean up my storage. So instead of going to the website, could be a little bit clunky sometimes. So use that Google One app and be able to clean up your storage, get rid of large attachments that you don't need anymore, and things like that, and keep a handle on your storage. But if you subscribe, then you don't have to worry too much.
I'm just looking through the settings for backups, and there's a setting about whether or not you allow backups over metered Wi-Fi or cellular data, and it wasn't ticked. I've actually just ticked it because I have lots of data. So if you find that you hit backup now and it won't work, or it's grayed, disabled, you might need to check that setting, because if you want to do a backup now but you don't actually have Wi-Fi, you need to have made sure that the phone knows it's all right to back up through your phone network, because otherwise it might be trying to protect you from massive bills. But if you've got a tariff like I have, where you won't get billed for that, then because you've already paid in your monthly tariff for loads of data, then it would be fine. So that might be a thing you need to check, because I've had that before. I've had the backup now thing's been disabled, and I've thought, what's going on here? Why won't it let me back up? And then, oh, that thing's not ticked and I haven't got Wi-Fi. Okay, that's the reason. So that's an important thing to know about backing up as well.
Thank you so much, Fee. So in other words, automatically it is set to only back up when you are on Wi-Fi. So
I think so, yes. And it's in the
Yeah.
advanced bit. It says advanced settings, certainly on my Samsung phone, but I am in the Google settings, and it says backup using mobile or metered Wi-Fi data, charges may apply. And then there's a tick box thing, and I've just ticked it now, so it will allow me. But I think, yeah, automatically it wasn't going to do that. So.
Yeah, so if you're someone that doesn't have Wi-Fi, you have to go in here and tell it to use your data, and then you keep in mind that it's going to be eating part of your data, because some of these backups can be huge, maybe 2 gigs or whatever, depends on what you have and all of that, as to how many apps you have and all of that. So it will eat into some of your data, and as well as eating into your storage, as we've indicated. So good point, P. Thank you so much.
And the good thing is, though, that it's smart enough to know what's backed up and what's not. So it doesn't back up everything every single time. So the first backup might use a lot of data, but from then on, it's only going to back up what's changed.
Exactly. And so, like we said, we would be visiting some of the items here in our next episodes or upcoming episodes. But I think for now, this will do it for this overview. And as I said earlier, this is just an overview of this area. So we encourage people to go in here and try to customize this area to their own liking.